it's one of those milestone things that just seems unfathomable for such a long time, that when you get really close to it and you start building into it, it's probably like, at the moment where I am, sub 20 just seems like a long way away, if ever possible. So but I think because we see you now, I'm going to be like, I'm going to have to keep pushing until I get this sub 20 one day myself. And Conor, you're pretty close to sub 20.
It's not possible for him though.
Wish. Aaron's not gonna like to hear now what I've been doing this week, sadly.
Hey guys, Seán here, and welcome to another episode of Any Given Runday. And I'm definitely using the intro for this video on Instagram later on. Thank you very much, Eric Lawless, who is on Zoom. Conor, Aaron, how are we today, guys?
Oh, great, yeah.
Very good, yeah. I can't wait to see this video up on Instagram.
I'm just delighted that Conor could actually, or Aaron's actually talking at the start of the intro there. Normally he just waves and nothing else goes on. But since Eric's been all giddy in front of the camera, we'll get straight.
You got any games on your phone?
Eric's giddy in a good mood because he just ran a 5k, and he ran a 5k in, what was it, Eric? 20 minutes and 13 for 5.01. How'd you get?
Yeah, 2013, yeah. Trying to get back to years when we were allowed to do things.
I didn't catch that. What did he say?
Trying to just get down to the years like 2013 where we were allowed like go outside and have fun and see each other in real life.
Yeah, but here's my question to you. You know, had you got some proper Rocky music on the go on your headphones instead of that Tay-Tay stuff, you would have beaten that 13 seconds to get your on the 20, and you would have been the first one out of the four of us to have a sub 20 5k. So what the hell? Why could you not just make an extra 13 seconds and get it done?
Selfish.
I knew this would annoy you. I knew it.
It has annoyed me.
Like I said it when I texted you earlier. I was like, I'm sorry. I know you're going to be annoyed, but the plan wasn't to break it today. I was just sticking at my 4:05 or better pace. So, but I will agree with you. You're 100% right. I had some sappy music on now, and it just did not help at all. I was actually getting really annoyed and nearly took my headphones off because they were like, I was terrible. No, I definitely think for the sub 20 now I'm gonna need something a bit more aggressive just to get me over the line. So yeah, the next one is I'm going down the 5 minute K pace each week. So next week should be 20 on the button if I run at the exact pace, but and then the week after she'll break it. But it definitely a mental challenge from now, and definitely gonna really need to rethink Taylor Swift and Hudson Taylor there when I'm trying to break the sub 20.
You were saying over the last couple of weeks you were going 4:15, 4:10, 4:05 before we started running this, and yeah. that you pretty much be able to stick with that so far.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Obviously I'm doing a good bit of cycling and running in the other time. Like, it's really, like, it definitely is such a mental thing. Like, I did an 8k at a 4:10 average during the week, but whatever it is about just going shorter a little bit faster mentally, like from the first step even today, I was like, oh, thank God I'm not doing it. But mentally I was like, geez, am I tired? Am I not tired? What way is the wind coming from? Oh, it's raining today. Sure, no way I'd get it done today. Every excuse from the first step, just because I was like, would the sub 20 be on? Wouldn't it? So yeah, I just think it's because I've never done it before. So definitely a mental thing. And I'd say once I break it, then it won't be such a big thing anymore, really. But that was the plan. Just try to take little increments, small improvements each week. That was the aim of what I was doing, and it seems to be working for me so far. So that transition to the sub 20 shouldn't be mentally too big a deal. It's just taking it that little step further.
Not getting too much of a big jump there. You know, I totally understand that. I think it's a big kind of thing. Sub 25k is it's one of those milestone things that just seems unfathomable for such a long time, that when you get really close to it and you start building into it, it's probably like, at the moment where I am, sub 20 just seems like a long way away, if ever possible. So, but I think because we see you now, I'm going to be like, I'm going to have to keep pushing until I get this sub 20 one day myself. And Conor, you're pretty close to sub 20.
It's not possible for him though.
Wish. Aaron's not gonna like to hear now what I've been doing this week, sadly.
What have you been doing this week?
So look, I suppose as you know, like obviously our hurling season's kind of been cut, but we're still obviously pressing ahead with our training, and a good portion of that is interval runs. You know, the distance overall tends to be around 5 or 6k, and the speed for each run is to aim for, roughly speaking, kilometre per 4 minutes. So on that basis, Aaron, you know, I still have a bit of time. Maybe that 20 minute or sub 20 isn't so far away.
So it's 2 minutes. It's not 2 minutes. It's 2 weeks from tomorrow. Well, today when this podcast goes out, it's going to be the last 5k between you two. And then, you know, I have an idea for that, and I'll let you guys know next week or the week after on the podcast exactly how that's going to come out. And I'm very, very proud of this idea. But Aaron, how's your running been going this week, mate?
Okay, not good.
Good.
I didn't get out on Wednesday, and I've been kind of like putting off today because of the weather. And I should have went out yesterday, and it's my own fault.
It just sounds like you need a little bit more motivation, Aaron. Like just think of what costume I'm going to put you in when you fail.
He wasn't that confident last week.
No, he wasn't at the table.
Nolan wasn't that confident last week. He took him wiping his brow there because Puddin wasn't out running. He's delighted.
The quote Michael Squat, how the turntables.
I'll be fine. Like, you know, I'm going to go out today and I'll just try. I need to do more stretching and stuff like that. I'm just
or running.
My recovery is just so bad. I didn't go out on Wednesday. Because I was so sore, like, to be honest.
Have you got a bike?
I do have a bike, yeah.
Why don't you just go for a little cycle just to do something?
Do snow.
And ease out the legs.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. I'll do that then.
I noticed the podcast, but just for you guys listening in, you can actually see Conor's eyes widen with anger as Eric started giving Aaron advice and that. Just like, why are you helping him out there? And he's trying to get stone-faced on it, but I got it clearly.
I think I did, but I'm sorry, to be clear, much now as I want to win this, I also want to see Aaron drop that time dramatically too. I think like keeping this fun and interesting for everyone is he gets as close as possible to me, and then I get as close as possible to some level of safety, which I think the only way I could say I'm 100% safe is if it comes under that 20-minute mark. And Eric will tell you how hard that is. We're not elite runners. We're you know, four average Joes to a certain extent. You know, each have our own strengths and weaknesses, but you know, we're not elite athletes. So you know, for Eric to be that close to a sub 20 is phenomenal. You know, for me to get that close is going to be tough going. You know yourself, Seán, like, interval runs don't mimic a race situation. Like, and you know, doing 5 1k runs at a 4-minute pace, it's not the same as doing a 5k at a 4-minute pace per kilometer. So, you know, look, again, wind them up a little bit, but look, I think it's still all to play for.
I reckon now after my run, Conor's going to go out and run a sub 20, just be like, ha ha ha.
I don't know. I think Conor may just give up now. Maybe start eating some crisps or something like that. I just don't think he has it in him now.
If you do that.
What did you say?
I said you won't. If you start eating crisps to give up now, you won't look good whenever dress Conor has for you in the store for you running. So if I was you, I'd get the running shoes on and get out there in the rain and suck it up and go.
It mightn't fit into the dress. Never mind what it looked like. However, I know what you're saying in terms of you should have went running yesterday. Yesterday, I was going to do the 5K because I was like, there's no wind, the sun is shining, and this. And I was actually putting it off because it was actually too warm. I went for a run on Friday, and it was a busy week of training. And running at what I would consider a comfortable pace for me for an 8K. And come 4K in, I really, really struggled. The difference in the temperature made at the end of the week, obviously a lot of training has gone in, but usually I can just get through it and finish the week strong. But from about 4K in, all I wanted to do was stop because of the heat. So on a day like today, I was out there this morning. It's not that windy and it's not really rain. It's kind of that misty rain where you don't really know whether it's sweat or whether it's rain. So it's actually a nice day to get out and actually put a push and a bit of an effort in because you haven't got that temperature working you harder as well. So
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying, "Oh, the rain is this and that." Like sometimes it's harder to run in the heat. It genuinely, the sweat is more, and the heart rate is up more, and you're working harder. So days like today, it's actually more comfortable.
And like the other thing as well is, and myself and Sean talked about this last year when we were in our final runs for the marathon. Like the days when you get out and it is that bit more miserable, you know, it kind of gives you a little bit of a boost as well. That, you know, you're out running. This, you know, how many other people that actually did this, you know, did what you were about to do and say, do you know what, it's, you know, it's a bit wet, it's a bit cold, it's a bit too hot. You know, I'll stay and I'll have that extra bag of crisps or whatever. You know, that's giving you a leg up. And I'm not telling you that I'm not going running today, but at the same time, you know, for your own sake, I think you'd be glad you went for a run.
Maybe go for 4 runs, just to try and catch up.
Aaron's got nothing on that. Just to switch gears a little bit on this. Speaking of running, I suppose one of the big things in the news this week was that Medium article. Conor, you actually sent it in the group for all of us. There's this article. Basically, it kind of tried to put people off running. So the Medium article basically said, I'll put the highlighted bit was, on the basis of these results, the scientists advised that for walking, the distance of people moving the same direction in one line should be at least 4 to 5 meters. For running and slow biking should be 10 meters. And for hard biking, at least 20 meters. And what a lot of people got from it was that you're almost being selfish going out for running and cycling because it could be easier. You're transferring the virus if you have it. But the only problem with it, and I suppose a big feckin' problem with it, is that the original person who authored the study, and he was talking to a Belgian newspaper, and your man who wrote the Medium article misinterpreted a second-hand source from what the newspaper guy interpreted from the author. So it wasn't actually coming from a direct study. And your man came out and was like, this study is actually intended for, to quote him, was like, the study is intended to support jogging and cycling, and that the only thing was you can run with each other, but if you're directly behind someone, just be a little bit cautious about it. The slipstream, maybe go a little bit behind. You know, so basically, because of misinterpretation, this big thing started coming out as you shouldn't run now, you shouldn't cycle. And it kind of reminded me, I remember like last month on the WhatsApp messages, it was forwarded from your man, Dr. Tim, with the physio, and saying like, if you take trees, you should, you know, you're more susceptible. Thank you. to getting the coronavirus. And I was like, you just have to be very, very careful in what's going on right there. And I think because more people probably read the Medium article or heard about the Medium article, or more articles in newspapers probably took the Medium article and ran with that rather than the truth and what your man was really trying to get with the study. I think that over the next weeks, people might be giving you the side eye if you're running or cycling, regardless that 2K radius, and just be like, that person's being selfish because they're putting their own health and their own needs first before everyone else. Long story short, when you guys are running, or have you guys experienced people looking at you kind of side eyes and going, you shouldn't be out here running, you know, or anything like that? Or is that happening yet?
No, I haven't seen that at all.
I think
more so for the faces I make when I'm running. They look like I've escaped from somewhere. So that's the only,
it's not social distancing. It makes people want to stay 2 meters away from you, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Running like Phoebe, our friend, swinging my arms out.
All arms, yeah.
Anyway.
Let's get sub 20, man. I'm gonna start doing that as well.
No, I don't think that article's had any kind of bearing on people's, you know, people's kind of movement. Like, if anything, like we said last week, there seems to be more people lacing up the shoes and getting out for a run, you know, than you would have seen even before, I suppose, this whole kind of pandemic kicked off. Look, I think, you know, good practice is always to keep some level of distance, whatever is 2 meters that they're advising, you know, between everyone, whether you're running, jogging, walking, whatever it is. The article itself, it's a shame because the principle was reasonably well founded. Like, if you think about an F1 car, you know, the reason why, you know, you see opponents sliding behind them is because there's a lower drag, and then they cut out, then use that slipstream and then cut out to overtake. You know, in the same way, if you look at a cough or a sneeze, in the same way, like LeBron James throws up the chalk, you know, goes, you know, there's a cloud. So the idea that, you know, if you're running at a pace that, you know, would essentially put you through that that cloud of germs or virus, then yeah, obviously it's, you know, it's worrying. But look, at the same time, obviously you said, Seán, it was ultimately, you know, disproved in the sense that, you know, it had been taken secondhand and taken it the wrong way. So look, I think, you know, as long as you're not, you know, running directly on someone's shoulder or licking their face as you're going past, you know, I think you're all right.
Just leave space. Be sensible.
Yeah, I've actually used running as like a little weird gauge to see if I may or may not be symptomatic. So like the harder I've been running, I've been like, yeah, I feel all right. Actually, I wasn't tired. I wasn't coughing. Like, you know, if I had something, maybe I'd be in kink right now. But so I've been kind of using running as a kind of a gauge to see am I still fit.
Free testing.
Yeah, good testing, good free testing. But
that's how we take the pressure of the healthcare system. Yeah, it's just right. I think you have it. Go out for a run and see.
I was just seeing like all these people saying, "Oh, if you can hold your breath for this length and that length and without coughing," I was like, if you can run for 5K at a 4:10 pace and you don't feel like collapsing, I think you're doing that.
Yeah, I think that breathing thing was also something that was disproven as well. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me on that. But I think people did spread that, and I was like, no, that's not a thing either. But like, I remember like a month back when I started pushing towards 5K PBs around here and getting up the hill and stuff at the top of it. It was like really short of breath, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I'm unfit here or if I've got coronavirus. And then I think what I wanted.
Rona! Is that you, Rona?
Did you not hear that off your friends, sisters, ma's, cousins, friends, aunt?
But look, it is a time for people to put up anything because everything is getting traction now. People are on the phone, they're bored at home, they're reading and sending around everything. But I suppose they do say common sense is not that common, but it is just to be common. Like, if we are going running together, I would never run directly behind someone unless we were on this narrow path past someone. And most times, like, you just keep your distance side on. Like, you know, like, it just be common sense. Like, I've even found when I'm running past people, if I tend to get quite close, I'd actually kind of hold my breath a little bit until I got a bit beyond them. Because you know that people, if they're running, they're breathing, they're sneezing, you know, like, just trying to be, like, I know they might seem like stupid little things, but it's just, I don't know, I think people just keep using their noggins, and yeah, like, you wouldn't necessarily run that close to someone anyway, you know, so I understand the slipstream effect and stuff, but, you know, if there's a crosswind, that's going to blow it out of your, you know, like, there's so many factors involved in it, but I think the important thing is people just maintain their distance and keep healthy and just get out and try and get the exercise in where they can as well, but just be smart about it as well.
Yeah. For some people, you know, it might mean running a little bit early in the morning or later in the evening or whatever it is, just to avoid that. Like, I know now if I see someone on the road, I'll literally just cross the other side of the road, jog a little bit. When I pass them, go back over to the right side, because it annoys me when you run the same size traffic. Stupid. But that's one of my little pet peeves. It's just running the same side, especially when a car and I turn a corner and the person's right there. I'm like, other side of the road, man. That's common sense there. So like you said, people use their noggin, people always do. Yeah, I think I'll pretty much wrap up this episode of the podcast there before we get too mad political on coronavirus and stuff. We all don't really know exactly what we're talking about at the moment. The main goal is for Eric to run a sub 20. Sounds like Conor's trying to get that sub 20 first, and Aaron's just trying to keep in there, get close to that 25 minute.
What about you, Seán? What's your goal for the week ahead?
Survive.
I
ran a 10K around here, and the second go around, I swear to God, I saw this dog just staring at me, and I'm like, oh, I'll go the opposite side of the road. Maybe the dog wants a bit of social distance. I gave the dog that, and I kept running a bit. Next thing you know, that dog just got rid of social distance and came up right on my ankles, started barking like mad, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? I was there in my own zone, listening to a bit of Rolling Stones, Give Me Shelter, and I was like, loving this. Just once I passed the dog, and all of a sudden the dog, I thought he was going to bite my ankles off, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. And I was the second go around as well. He couldn't do it the first go around when I had a little bit of energy and stuff, and I was only halfway up the hill the first time. He had to go the second go around, and I was getting pretty tired. So
I was wondering how you got that second wind. You know, you did a great time there in that 10K. I was wondering how you got that second wind there.
It got me straight up the hill the second time, I tell you that much. I wasn't thinking about how steep this hill was. I'm thinking, is this dog back up my ass to get me?
I borrow that dog next week to try to run some 20.
Yeah. I'll put it on a lead and hang out a car behind, just keep that at you.
Actually, Sean, you can put together a little playlist for me and see if I'll try it out next week.
Yeah.
If it does any different.
The Any Given Runday.
Any Given Runday. I'll tell you, for me, it's that for a 5K, it's definitely still the Hans Zimmer, the Batman, and
not working for me anymore.
Not working anymore, no.
Soundtrack
straight to Rocky 4, man.
Do you know what I'm going to do, guys? Is I'm going to create a playlist on Spotify, right? And maybe I suppose the other participants in our group can get involved as well. But basically, put in your best running song, and let's see what kind of a playlist we can come up with.
Put it in the Any Given Runday Run Club.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm telling you right now, I'm picking a Rocky song.
Right, I'm in. Let's do it, and we'll try and make the playlist 20 minutes long and see what happens.
There you go. Sounds like a plan.
Right. Fair enough, right? Post it. You go post it in the Any Given Runday Road Club group. Post it in. We'll get 13 songs going in there, and then Eric hit shuffle next 2 weeks. Get on the sub 20, and Jesus, mother of.
Yeah.
Eric just put his face right up to the camera there. It's an awful sight. On that note, anyone else got anything to add to this week's episode of the podcast?
I'm gonna eat loads of chocolate.
I might too, because I got my run in yesterday. So I feel good getting my long run weekend in. Conor, Aaron, same or
maybe a little bit, yeah.
Weather's looking pretty bad out there. It's looking pretty bleak.
You're right, Sean. Hang on to tomorrow. Right.
What's that?
You're right, Sean. I should hang on to tomorrow.
No, you get out there and you get running. On that note, guys, thank you very much for listening to this week's episode of the podcast from the four of us. Take care.
Bye.